r/NoSleep. Posted by u/Gray. Building 679. I've been hired to find a lost satanical painting. Unexplainable things have started happening since I began my search. It's stunning, isn't it? Arlene Van Cult comes over to me from across the long hallway, her red-soled Louboutins clinking against the ivory marble floors. Chanel No. 5 invades my nostrils, and I can tell she's directly behind me. I can't believe I am actually looking at it, I say, getting so close to the painting till it's almost touching the tip of my nose. Unless it's a forgery, and a very good one at that. The pigments seem to be aligned with the time period, as well as the spiderweb-like cracks on the canvas. It certainly has her signature. Have you had it authenticated? By the best of them. Arlene nods, her cloudy gray eyes revealing nothing. So you're familiar with Sarah Adams and her work? I take this as an indication that it's my time to prove myself. Whatever Arlene wants from me will be determined by what I say next. Sarah Adams, born 1666, died 1692 at the ripe age of 26. An avid painter due to her family's wealth, standing, and access to materials, Sarah's work was heavily acclaimed. If she had been in Europe and of the correct gender, she might have been one of the great artists of the 17th century. I smile at this, glancing at Arlene before continuing. Guided by a mysterious mentor, Sarah's subjects of preference tended to be focused on nature and religion with heavy symbolism. It was unfortunately during the Salem witch trials that Sarah was convicted of witchcraft, and hung at the infamous Gallows Hill. As far as I am aware, she only produced 3 pieces in her lifetime, all of them with her signature, her initials. I point to a small marking on the painting, almost undecipherable, a snake with SA woven into its body. That being said, and I pause. None of her paintings are anything like this. I let my eyes drift up, scanning downwards. The image is that of a naked woman, flaming red hair, whipping around her like fire, an expression of ecstasy on her face. Botticelli-like limbs intertwined between the devil, whose leering eyes peer straight ahead, as it suckles at her breast, its daunting mouth open and trickling blood. Where did you find it? I ask. A man named Jeffrey Cameron. He was on my payroll up until recently. Sarah Adams produced the 3 pieces you speak of, as well as another collection, that was lost. At the bottom of this painting, you'll notice a number, 1 to be exact. Arlene's voice is sharp, like glass. There are apparently 3 in total like this, that Sarah Adams made towards the end of her life. I am looking to procure the other 2. Mrs. Van Cult. Arlene. She lowers her gaze. Arlene. If these paintings exist and were not destroyed, burned, or even possibly rotting away in some basement, they would be worth. I can't even surmise at the amount. A painting like this would be a white whale. Priceless. For a woman like Arlene, though, everything has a price. That's why I'm hiring you, Lucy. Her tone sickly sweet. You're an art detective. Of sorts. Find me the paintings. Whatever the cost. She says this in a low growl, handing me a check. I notice it's blank. To get you going, she says before leaving the room. I wander out of Arlene's penthouse on the Upper East Side in a daze, confounded on where to start. I had graduated from Temple with a degree in art history, working at galleries for several years before dipping my toes into the competitive and sometimes ludicrous field of art collecting for the extremely wealthy. I had a reputation for being able to find obscure pieces and sourcing art that would appreciate in value. I had worked for Arlene on several occasions. On my suggestion, she had bought several paintings from a young Nigerian artist. An investment that had quadrupled over the last year alone. I had never done anything like this though. My specialty is not focused on the occult, but Arlene was not the type of person you could say no to. Instead of scouring the auction houses, library, or art catalogs, I call my friend Chelsea, who picks up on the first ring. Chelsea Porter, who now goes by Chelsea Morgan, was a classmate of mine. Intelligent, gifted, with a wealth of encyclopedic knowledge pertaining to art history. I, along with everyone else, expected her to take the art world by storm. Instead, she married Chester Morgan, a Wall Street douchebag, and settled in as wife, homemaker, and mother. If Arlene or any of my other clients could get their hands on her, I would be out of a job permanently. Answering the door in a couture gown, that's worth more than my rent, Chelsea invites me into her lovely brownstone, taking me to the kitchen where I do the obligatory oohs and ahs over her new baby, a cherubic and fleshy girl, with the unfortunate name, Chestnut. I take a cup of tea before asking her about Sarah Adams. Chelsea eyes me curiously. It's a common consensus among historians that the Salem witch trials can be contributed to mass hysteria, concluding that for the most part, that the people hung, and the one who was crushed to death were innocent. Sarah Adams though. She was the real deal. What do you know about her art? Chelsea disappears for a moment, returning with a thick book, the pages curled and yellow. Placing it on the countertop, she thumbs through it, opening to a spread. These are the 3 known works of Sarah Adams which now reside as part of the Winthrop collection. All of them are an unprecedented achievement for American art, especially given the time period. Continuing, Chelsea clears her throat. There are those that believe Sarah created 3 more paintings, lost with time, and rumored to be painted in collaboration with the devil himself. If found, they're said to provide a portal, a communication to hell, directly with Satan. So like a heliphone? I crack a smile. Chelsea grimaces. Nowadays the devil is so diluted, comical even. We forget that just a few hundred years ago that Satan was the most feared thing in existence. Even thinking about what we're discussing was punishable by death. Well, I say, changing the subject. Sarah Adams' lost art is no longer lost. I look at Chelsea, waiting for that moment of realization when it dawns on her. I slide over my phone. Pulled up are the photos of the painting I saw this morning at Arlene's house. Oh my God, says Chelsea, her hands shaking. This is. I know. I smile. And I assume this is our dear Sarah, copulating with the devil. It's so much more than that. Chelsea looks at me incredulously. God, I wish I could see it in person, but look here. She says, pointing. The tree in the background, the apple. The grass, wavy and green, like snakes. It's depicting the origin of sin. The story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Do you by chance have access to the Winthrop collection, to Sarah's original works? The Miles Winthrop collection? As by chance, our good friend Kelly Armstrong works for him. Chelsea gives me a playful shove. I roll my eyes. Kelly, on the best of terms, could be called an adversary, on the worst, a nemesis. Our frenemy status from college had escalated once we began to vying for the same clients and art. Could you make an appointment for us to see it? If I text her, I doubt she'll even respond. Kelly's not that bad. Chelsea picks up her phone, typing furiously. A few seconds after she presses send, a ding rings throughout the room. Great. She says to meet her at noon tomorrow at Winthrop Assets, downtown. You're a gem, Chelsea. I give her a kiss on the cheek before leaving, making my way towards the subway to the F line that goes to my apartment in Queens. At the street-level entrance, a large black dog sits guarding the entrance as oblivious pedestrians walk by. Lifting its gaze to me, I absent-mindedly pat her head before descending down the stairs. On the train, in between flipping through my defunct Instagram page, which hasn't been updated in over a year, I go to my photos, zooming in on the painting. The apple Chelsea pointed out has grabbed my attention. Something isn't right about it. The lights overhead suddenly flicker before turning off, like a candle being extinguished. A collective groan passes through the passengers. I smell something that triggers a memory, reminding of the geysers at Yellowstone I visited when I was a kid, like rotting eggs. Warm breath caresses my ear, some scumbag getting too fresh in the dark. I turn around with my right hook ready. There's nobody behind me, the seat's empty. I hear a sound, something ripping through the air, then a horrible crack. My eyes widen as I see a figure, a shadow of a woman, dangling from the roof of the subway. A noose tied around her neck. Her face downwards, lifts up, facing my own, as dark eyes, endless abysses, stare back. I feel a scream involuntarily erupting from my mouth, as the lights flicker back on. The apparition gone. Are you okay? A man next to me in a Burberry petticoat grabs my forearm. I look back again just to verify that nothing is there. Yes. I'm embarrassed but give a convincing smile. Thank you. I scan the cabin, and my eyes land on a hooded person a few feet away. I can feel them watching me, and I shift uncomfortably. My stop is 5 blocks from my apartment on 175th. A crumbling abode that sits atop an Indian restaurant known for its dosas, called Ronnie's Kitchen. I got lucky in finding it. The rent is cheap for New York standards, and the restaurant's owner and namesake always has leftovers. As per usual, I find a pile of styrofoam boxes piled outside my door. I'm fidgeting with my keys when a movement distracts me. Turning my neck, I see the person on the subway who is looking at me. Their face is obscured. They're standing still on the street, watching. My heart begins to beat furiously in my chest, as I feel an overwhelming and debilitating sense of dread. I go back to the door, desperate to get inside. Loud, fast footsteps erupt, thundering towards me. Thump, thump, thump. Coming closer. Whipping my head around, I hold up my arms, expecting my assailant, but there is none. My eyes go back to the street, nobody is there, but a stray dog who runs across, before disappearing from sight. A cold and brutal realization crosses my mind. Somebody is following me. Taking a deep breath, I turn the knob, and come into the safety of my home, kicking off my boots, and turning on the television. Frasier reruns. My heart is still racing, as I print several copies from my phone of Sarah Adams' work. There's something strange about the frame surrounding the canvas, but I'm still focused on the apple. Laying the paper on the kitchen counter and studying the images, I remain focused, as I open the takeaway containers, pausing when I see the contents. All 5 of the boxes are full of apples, rotten, with each piece of fruit a single bite has been extracted. I involuntarily let out a chuckle, both in fear and relief. I know 2 things for certain. First, the apple in the painting looks strange as it's been bitten into. Just as Eve took a disobedient bite out of the apple, the forbidden fruit, from the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. Second, somebody or something knows I am looking for the work of Sarah Adams, and doesn't like it. This is a warning, and maybe the last one I'll get.